quarter of the year.
Well, the first half. They were up 7-2. But they were 12 of 25 from the three-point line. He had 35 combined points from Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson. They were rolling. Steph had his 16. Draymond was barking left and right. You had Dario Saric rolling in the first half with 8 points. But you started to see the turnovers. And this is where I was with Sackey at halftime because we didn't have a halftime yesterday due to the game being on national television, TNT. And Sackey and I both said, they're going to blow this lead. Because at the end of the second quarter, they started turning the ball over. Hell, at the end of the first quarter, they had 4 turnovers, and the Kings scored 8 points off those turnovers. Well, overall in the first half, they had 11 turnovers. They committed 11 turnovers and gave up 15 points off those turnovers. So slowly, even though you had a 17-point lead at the half, Sacramento was like, you know what? We should be down 25. And then the third quarter happens. And Sacramento shoots 20 free throws. And today, 888-957-9570, I don't want to hear anything about officials rigging games or Gucci Man, James Williams, and who's the other guy, Mitchell Irvin, who doesn't take any crap. I don't want to hear about that stuff. Kevin Durant said it last Wednesday night in Phoenix. We know the Warriors like to hack. They like to foul. And the Warriors right now in the league are 28th in the league when it comes to fouls per game. They foul teams over 22 times a game. And yesterday, they committed a season-high 31 fouls.
Well, it felt like they had 50 turnovers in that first part of that third quarter. I mean, I'm not joking, B. It was so bad. And then, look, let's call it what it is. Draymond was brilliant for like 2.5 quarters. And then he lost complete emotional control. And yes, it was combined with the team not playing well. It was a death knell. When I saw him lying on the ground, like fried fish, just like writhing in fake pain on the little. I was like, oh God, he's more worried about getting in the tussle. He was play basketball. He was so good. He was so good. He couldn't just put together 4 quarters. He couldn't. He had to get into it, and it wasn't just him. Curry had turnovers late in the game. I thought Curry was pressing because they were double teaming him and nobody else was hitting shots. It's not on Curry, but Curry, you bear a brunt of this because you wanted to play with these guys.
Well, you know what?
And then not playing Moses Moody, who was the only guy hitting shots in the second half. And he hit 2 shots that didn't even count. I don't even know what that little like flop crash play where Moody hits the 3, taking that 3 off the board. I knew it was going to come back to bite them. I absolutely knew it. When Moody got subbed out and Wiggins came in, it wasn't bringing Wiggins in. I had no problem bringing Wiggins in.
You had to take Klay out in that situation because he was 1 of 5 in the second half.
Or split up the bigs. It was one of those twos.
You needed size. We'll get to all that because I also thought
Moody
Steve Kerr
needed to play.
Well, I also thought Steve Kerr wasted a challenge with 2:50 left in the game. You challenge there. They're not going to overturn it. Steph extends his leg. He does the Reggie Miller. It is what it is. And you waste your last timeout on that challenge. So down the stretch, 2:50, that's an eternity in an NBA game. That's an eternity, folks. And you don't have a timeout. So when Malik Monk does make that shot, he does make that shot. And you know, Tim Roy, I love Tim Roy. He can call it a lucky shot all he wants. That's what Malik Monk does.
Exactly.
He's a bucket getter. He makes tough shots. You could have called a timeout there to set up a play with 7+ seconds left. So, look, there's a lot to get into here. I want to start with the fouls, though, for a second, because we're going to get to Draymond. We're going to get to Klay. 888-957-9570.
And they missed, they missed 15 free throws, the Kings.
Dub Nation, I want to hear from you today. I want to hear from you about what's going on with this basketball team right now. You got the Clippers coming up in the back-to-back. You got to split somehow. Just to feel good. And then you play Portland next Wednesday, and you play Oklahoma City again next Friday in Oklahoma City. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is rolling right now. So we got problems on deck. We got water on the boat. But in that third quarter, where the Kings really made their run, and they outscored the Warriors 40-32, they got to the free throw line, Spadonia Lubman, 20 times. 20 times. They got to the free throw line. Overall, the flow got killed in that third quarter. Both teams were hacking. The Warriors ended up going to the free throw line 14 times in that quarter as well. There was 34 overall free throws. But the Kings started getting momentum because the Warriors kept turning the ball over. And the Warriors lost their flow. And, you know, when you get to the fourth quarter, all of a sudden you got no flow. You have no rhythm. You have a turnover problem. You have a foul problem. Again, they're the third worst team in the league when it comes to hacking.
But why are we surprised?
Why that's a product? You know what that is a product of? Old, slow. You can't defend at the point of attack. So if you reach, that other team's going to teach. That's what teams are doing right now.
You're 100% correct.
You sow, brother.
But this is why Moody needs to play, because Moody's one of the few guys that actually is decent at moving laterally on the perimeter.
It's not bad.
No one is saying he's a catch-all, the end-all, be-all. I'm not here to say, like, you could be a first-team player in the league. No, but what I'm saying is, like, on this team, You're dying to find perimeter defense. You're dying to find someone who can hit a knockdown shot opposite Curry, and he is at least providing that. So why you take him over? I'm open to listening to, and I know your point on you need size on the floor. Looney was not good yesterday. He smoked those two free throws late, but I didn't think he was good. Overall, Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, Looney, they played 16 minutes together. They got outscored 42-38.
Yep.
And they were hacking left and right.
Right.
I don't even have the advanced numbers on.
-4 is not bad. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, but this was supposedly the best lineup in the league.
But the whole net rating thing was, I'm not buying that.
But the situational basketball to me, forget whatever the net rating is. Situational basketball, end of the game, for example, they're blitzing Curry. Blitzing Curry. And then Draymond gets the rock. He's speeding up the court when they're up, however many, 4 or 5 points, and he just throws it away. Curry getting blitzed. No one else can hit a shot. He feels like he has to be Superman. They don't have enough spacing on the floor to help him out, and they didn't have that second facilitator.
Well,
and then Draymond lost emotional control.
Well, that's where the Chris Paul injury hurts.
Yes.
He exits the game with 16 seconds left in the first quarter.
Totally agree.
And he goes to the locker room, and he's limping, and you think, and you know what? This is what happens with Chris Paul, unfortunately.
It sucks.
Soft tissue issues, soft tissue muscle injuries, soft muscle tissue injuries, whatever you want to say. But lower leg injuries are classifying it as a lower left leg injury. Gary Payton II will have him in MRI today on his right calf.
Awesome.
So in that fourth quarter, you saw not having that extra ball handler.
Yes.
You saw not having GP2 to play defense at the point of attack. And GP2 was showing off his athleticism in this basketball game. He grabbed a rebound over 3 Sacramento Kings. The buzzer beater at the end of the first quarter. Gary Payton II was in his bag last night. But missing Chris Paul as that extra ball handler late down the stretch. And to the point about Moses Moody. If you're Moses Moody right now, you've got to be thinking. And I'm not trying to psychoanalyze Moses Moody. He's a great kid. He's a veteran. He stays ready. The guy's a gamer. He's 8 for 8 in his last 2 games. Okay, folks? 8 for 8 overall. He had the stroke rolling yesterday when it comes to for the three-point line. So if you're Moses Moody and you're your third year with the Golden State Warriors, and you're thinking, boy, I had 11 points in the fourth quarter to help stabilize the basketball game.
Been more.
What else can I do to get on the floor?
100%.
What else can I do to play? What can I do to stay on the court in crunch time? And that's where Steve's got to just, Steve talked about it after the game. We'll play the sound about that, why Moses Moody got subbed out. We'll have that sound for you. We got a bunch of sound coming up here. Steph Curry was irate last night. You could tell how agitated he was about the loss. But subbing out Moses Moody when you did, and you did it for Andrew Wiggins, I'm fine. It's 4:26 left in the game.
Wiggins needed to come back in.
Wiggins came in for Moody.
No, I know, but I'm saying I wanted Wiggins to come back into the game.
No problem.
But not for Moody. Not for Moody. I was open again. In my mind, I know you have your opinion. In my mind, it was Clay, Dre, or Looney who should have one of the three.
I thought maybe Clay because Clay didn't have the shot rolling.
I'm open to that.
Listen, Clay did what he had to do yesterday to get you at 20. It was a good sign with Klay Thompson.
The first half was really nice.
20.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 games, Klay Thompson's giving you 19 points per game, and he's becoming more and more efficient. So I'm not mad at that. Defensively, I thought he had a great play on Malik Monk late in the game, blocking his shot when he was going to the rim.
And he had nice rebounds, 9 rebounds.
He had 9 rebounds. He almost had a double-double. So Klay was fine yesterday. But in that situation, I have to figure out a way to get Moses Moody on the court. I don't give a damn who it's for.
But even if you're subbing, even if you're going possession by possession late in the game and you're just working the matchups, I'm open to it. Like this thing that you go to the bench and you don't get to come back in again. No, I've seen Steve Kerr play the matchups, offense for defense, and go back and forth. Now, because you don't have timeouts, I understand it makes it more difficult because the game's free flowing. But there's whistles on every play last night.
Yeah,
so to me, I would have been much more ready to keep Moody on the floor. And the thing that frustrates me, I felt like an AAU dad. I felt like I was watching my son get yanked when he finally started to do well. I wanted to jump up and scream at Steve Kerr, what are you doing? He's the only guy hitting shots. Are you watching the game that is happening in front of our eyes? In real time, he was the only one who had the stroke going in the second half.
Yeah, it was not good. Moody really was only the fourth quarter.
Well, there you go, fourth quarter, whatever.
That's when he scored all his points.
But I'm saying that the team had no rhythm offensively in the second half.
They didn't have any rhythm. The foul calls.
Steve's an all-time coach. I'm not here to say that Steve is the worst coach who ever lived. I'm not saying he sucks. He's been amazing. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one of the winningest coaches in the history of the game. He made a bad mistake on personnel late in the game. And I think that their dedication to riding or dying with the veterans, well, then you're going to die this year.
Yeah,
it's year 3. If it was year 1 and he was 19, I get it.
It's year 3.
It's year 3.
And
if you're not going to use your players that are playing well, then you're doing a disservice to your team.
Well, if it's Moses Moody, you're Moses Moody again. You got to think, what else can I do? Because he scored all 11 points in the fourth quarter. He's 4-4 from the floor. He hit the 3 threes, didn't touch the rim, and he got subbed out with 4:26 left in the basketball game with the Warriors up 2. Now, the Warriors were able to go up 5 and went up 119, 114. You were thinking, okay, you may not advance to the knockout stage, which is not the worst thing in the world.
Just win the game.
However, you got to win that basketball
game. The game.
You're up 24 points. 24 points. And then Malik Monk goes crazy. De'Aaron Fox goes crazy. And De'Aaron Fox is a special, special player. But he missed 8 free throws yesterday. He was 9-17. The Kings overall missed 15 free throws. So they tried to give you the game. They left the game on a silver platter for you. And the Warriors of old, this is where age comes into play. This is where you got to think, boy, is this really the death of a dynasty? Because the Warriors, they figure out a way to win it. The Warriors that we've grown to love with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, and Kevon Looney, and Steve Kerr, they win these basketball games. And you know what? They're not winning those basketball games this season. And even when they win, look at the win against San Antonio last Friday. Look at the win against the Houston Rockets on the last game of that 6-game homestand. Yeah. Look at some of these games on the road. They are failing to close out teams. They are struggling to close out teams, which tells me they don't have the quickness anymore. Teams are not afraid of them, and teams are going right at them. They're going right at them. And the turnover problem that you have, you can't overcome it because guys are not in their prime anymore.
No.
So we got some issues here. We got to figure something out. And by the way, Jonathan Kuminga, either play him in the dunker spot.
I think he's done.
Get him down in the post, or you figure out a way to get better without him because it just doesn't look like he fits here.
He looks
not
lost.
Right now.
Offensively, completely lost.
He is lost.
And then defensively, if I see another ticky-tacky hand slap foul from him, like the second he did that second foul, I was like, take him out of the game.
Yeah,
just take him out of the game. He's unplayable. See, like that's my thing. If you're going to play hey, you don't earn minutes, well, then it has to go, like in Kuminga's. Like, I'm here to say, I'm not here some Kuminga stand. Hey, Kuminga didn't deserve to play late in that game at all. And I thought 10 minutes might have been 2 minutes too many yesterday. But Moody deserved to play more. I could go on both sides of the fence. Problem is you're gonna have to hurt somebody's feelings. And guess what? You gotta do it.
No, and forget feelings right now. Forget feelings. All right? This ain't about feelings. This is professional sports. Guys get paid a lot of money. You gotta sacrifice.
Now,
somebody's gotta sacrifice. And somebody's gotta know, you know what, this guy, and if you are moping, then that tells me you're not a team guy.
Well,
that tells me that you're a me guy. And so if you are not happy with Moses Moody playing, then you know what? We got to figure some things out here, and we got to figure out a situation to where you can go to and be happy because you know what? It's not about feelings. It's about winning some damn basketball games. And all I want in my life is a damn win right now. And they've lost 8 of their last 10, and you go to lose to Sacramento, the worst of the worst. That team has a mental hurdle against the Golden State Warriors. Well, you know what? They cleared that mental hurdle yesterday by getting that win in that fashion in front of their home base, and now they get to clinch a group, and now they advance to the knockout stage, and now they're feeling good about themselves in Sacramento. So, you know what? It's just a devastating loss this early in the season. And you know what? Yogi Berra, what did he say? Sometimes you got to be early before it's too late, right? In terms of like personnel or whatnot.
Did you watch that Yogi doc?
I watched some of it.
My dad is in love with it. He's watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I love it.
It's really good.
He's one of the most misunderstood superstars in American sports history.
Why don't we talk about him? Anyway, real quick on something. You brought up Klay. You squeezed Klay in the first half. You got good production out of him. When the Warriors played the Denver Nuggets, okay? I'm going way back in the time machine. When the Warriors beat the Denver Nuggets that first playoff run, my buddy Rocco, who you know very well, used to say this thing, hey, Iggy's a 1/2 player.
Yeah.
Because he was their best player.
Yep.
He says once he sits down, then he comes back in the game, then it's halftime, then he has to get geared up again. The knees were so old at that point that he's a role guy. Can he still be good and effective? Absolutely. Yeah. But he can't carry the team for a full game like he could maybe the year or 2 years or 3 years prior. I'm looking at Klay Thompson, and whenever you get great production, it almost feels like, oh, well, let's keep riding this. And it's like, there's like a law of depreciating returns on that. And I felt like yesterday was an example of he had a good game. And then he was trying to continue to shoot in certain circumstances. It's like, no, they ran a specific play, a pin down play for him where Curry got a foul actually on it and he shot 2 free throws. And I'm saying, Steve, Stop calling plays for Klay Thompson with 5 minutes to go. I stop it because the second he touches it, he's jacking it up.
Well,
like,
you know
I'm
what?
sorry, I love Klay. The discernment is really bad right now.
No, but you know what though? His field goal attempts are down. His 3-point attempts are down. So the discernment is there. He only took 5 shots in the second half. He took 5 shots. All right.
Well, he had 2 that he was going to take. The one on the comment, which he clanked.
He didn't take it.
Well, no, that was on the set screen.
He didn't take it.
And he missed that. The other one was on the one where he lost the ball. And then they were going to have a backcourt, and he fired it over to Curry, and thank God Curry hit a 3.
Well, they all had the turnover bug. But look, Curry had 3 turnovers.
Oh, he wasn't good either. He was getting blitzed.
He had 3 turnovers in the second half. Klay Thompson took 5 shots.
Like Curry is 3 dependent right now. Too much.
I'll get into Klay Thompson on the other side.